everybody, Joelle Rises here. I write as JD Blackrose if you want to look up my books. I wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on with Audible. There's like a whole new controversy coming out with Audible, and I want to talk about it a little bit and just amplify the voices that are already talking about it, because there's some incredible people that are doing great work and trying to understand this and break it down. I particularly refer you to John Hartness at Falstaff Books, Brian Greene, and Brian has, I don't know him, but Brian has an interview on his YouTube channel with the woman who did like the biggest amount of digging. Her name is Robin Sullivan, and she is Michael Sullivan's wife and his business partner. He's the writer, she's the business side, and she knows and has probably forgotten more about marketing books than I will ever learn. So she is really obviously an incredible wealth of knowledge. So there are lots of people doing stuff around this, and I'm learning from them. But in the hopes that the more people that talk about it, the bigger the audience, the more people know, the more people are outraged, I'm going to talk about it too. So what's going on? First, I'm going to preface this with something. All right, so 1 second for a minute. Let's just say, yes, 1 second for a minute. 1 second. Put this topic aside for a minute and know this one thing about me. I have audiobooks on a platform called Everand, E-V-E-R-A-N-D. The Summoner's Mark series is on Everand, and right now they have the first 3 books, but they own the rights to all of them that are published thus far. And the books have done really, really well there. But the way that my agreement is with Everand is I got paid, along with my publisher, Bellbridge Books, an upfront payment for the rights to my books, and I know I'm not getting any royalties after that from Everand. Now the books after an exclusive period go to places like Audible, and anything that's bought there I get a royalty on, but on Everand it is included in their listeners' monthly fee, their membership fee. And so I got paid a lump sum up front, and I don't get paid any more from Everand for that, for their listeners after that, which is fine. And because that was the agreement. And the books have done really well there, actually. I have, I don't even know, like a bunch of ratings, and I'll look it up right now, and some really nice reviews there. Demon Kiss, the first book, has 122 ratings, 4.5 stars out of 5. So what that tells me, and Faycross and Hellbound are doing well too, what that tells me is that people on the Everand platform really like the books, and because it doesn't cost them any extra money past their membership fee, they can take a chance on listening to it, and hopefully they like it, and because it doesn't cost them anything else. There's no points, there's no extra money, there's no credit, there's no anything, right? They just part of their membership fee. That is a sort of like a streaming service for the people who have joined Everand, and I would suggest you check them out, by the way. But it's like renting something, and it's unlimited listening for no other fee apart from your monthly fee. But that's the arrangement, right? And you don't really own your book. It's more like, you know, you're getting to listen to it, and it's not really yours, but you get to listen to that book as much as you want, and it doesn't cost you anything in addition to your monthly fee. Okay, so that's the sort of all you can listen type of model. Now the other model is really is different. And I'm going to go back to Audible now. So we put Everand to the side, and we bring Audible back. Audible now has 2 platforms, but they call their Plus platform and their Premium Plus platform. It's just 2 different cost levels, and it brings different things. So the Plus program, which is the lower level, costs, I don't know, I think it's like $7.95 a month, something like that. And you pay that monthly fee, and you get access to a really rather incredible library of books. Just like I was talking about on Everand, you get a really nice catalog that you can listen to. There's things that are in the public domain, like Treasure Island, I just looked up is there, and Dracula and Frankenstein and a whole bunch of other things. And then there are some really big authors. Mel Robbins' Let Them is on there, and I actually listened to that book. And by the way, it's great. You should listen to it. James Patterson has, I just saw they had a book on there. And there are these Audible originals around some of these big authors too, which are Audible produced, like big name authors. So there's a lot of different stuff on there, and it's a really impressive catalog of stuff. So that's great. And what happens is you as the listener pay a certain fee, whatever that is, $7, $8, and you have access to all of that stuff for no additional cost other than your monthly fee. On the other side, there's the Premium Plus. Now on the Premium Plus, you get everything that's in the Plus catalog, plus an Audible credit a month, or you can buy some credits. There's different ways to do it. And that credit you can spend on a book that is not in that Plus catalog. You could buy one of my books, for example. You could buy, whatever, there's gazillion authors on Audible. You can spend that credit on those books. My friend John Hartness, as I mentioned earlier in the thing, he has books out there. My friend Darren Kennedy. I could name a million people who have books on Audible that you can use, that you can get with a credit. Now, one of the things that is problematic about what I'm about to explain to you is that we really don't know the true value monetarily of a credit. I don't know what that is. And the people I've seen discussing it imply that the value fluctuates over time. And I don't understand that part. So I'm not going to try to explain it to you because I don't get it. But if you buy my book with one credit, you say, this is the book I want, and I'm going to spend my credit on that book, some piece of the monetary value of that credit comes to me eventually, right? Some of it goes to my, some of it Audible keeps, some of it goes to Falstaff Books if it's a Falstaff book, and then eventually I get a little, I get a little piece of it. So that's the way it works. Now here's what's new and what's happening. If you now spend your audiobook credit, say on my book, and within that same month, you go and listen to Treasure Island and Let Them by Mel Robbins, a piece of that value of that credit is siphoned off now to pay for Treasure Island and Mel Robbins' Let Them. Now, keep in mind, the people who are the authors that are on the plus side, like I have with Everand, got played something up front and knew that the arrangement is they were not going to get any more royalties. So Audible, I believe, is saying, and I'll have to double check this, but I believe Audible is saying part of the reason they're doing this is that they want to pay authors more royalties. And that's fine, except that was not the agreement. I always want authors to be paid royalties, by the way. But that wasn't the agreement they had. So I'm not sure what is motivating that. And also, when you're doing an Audible original, or you're doing something in the public domain, it means that all of that money is going back to Audible, right? There's nobody else to pay. So they're taking my little piece of value and my production company, my publisher's value, right? The creative side, right? So there's the production company, the narrator, and me, the creative side. And they're siphoning off a little bit to go to each of those plus properties to help pay for those. And they're saying they can do that because they believe readers wanted their one credit to pay for everything. And as an author, I don't feel that's true. Like, if you're spending your credit on a book you want your credit to go toward that book. And if things are over here in the plus category and they're advertised to you as free, they should be free. But they're confounding these two libraries and siphoning off a little money from that credit, which normally would have gone to the creative side, to pay for these other things on the plus side that supposedly are free to you. This means that the value and the amount that I get and my publisher gets, and maybe if we have a royalty share with the narrator gets diminished by a little bit each time. And by the way, I can't tell you how much that is because I don't think that's actually really clear. So just as I don't know what the value of a credit is, I don't know what the value, what they're siphoning off. So if you were to buy my book and then listen to 4 or 5 things on the plus side in the same month, which by the way you should, what they're doing is continually siphoning off a little bit of money so that eventually what I get is negligible. So they're taking money from the creatives who are responsible for creating an audiobook, and they're using it to prop up the plus side library. It feels very Ponzi scheme to me, frankly. I don't know if that's exactly the right word, but that's what it feels like. Like this side, this plus side, needs bolstering. And so the place they're getting it is from over here, and they're taking it from the people who have the least power. That's what they're doing. And I'm going to double check all of these details. I want to make sure I'm saying again that I'm learning as we go along. But I want readers to know that this is happening because we absolutely, as readers, considering myself a reader and an author, did not think that this was the way it was ever going to work. You should keep the two things separate because they're both great systems. They're both great systems. I love the plus side. I love the catalog. And I love the fact that I can get a credit to go buy something that's not over here. But they should not meet. There should be a hard line between the two. So there is actually a petition going around on change.org. I'll try to link to that and to some of these other videos I mentioned so you can hear other people talk about it. And I will try to do an update next week when I am more educated. But certainly what is happening now feels blatantly egregious and is going to cut down on how much money authors get. And I don't think that you as a reader, and certainly I as a reader, had any idea that that's what they were doing. So thanks a lot. I'm going to put more information below and take some time to educate yourself about this because it's really unfair. Thanks, guys. Bye.